Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. Today, I kind of wanted to talk about the idea that you're valid to feel tired, no matter what. Your tiredness, your struggles, your hardships are just as valid as anyone else. Cheers, or salut, or santé for French. But yeah, today I kind of want to just have a late night drink and kind of talk about how it's just as valid as anyone else. Your struggles, your tiredness, all those things, any feelings. I I just think that like a lot of the time, for some reason, it's kind of like a competition where we feel like we need to, someone will say like, oh man, I only got like 5 hours of sleep last night. And then someone else will jump in and be like, yeah, well, I only got 2 hours of sleep last night. I actually didn't sleep at all last night. It's like, why is that? Why are we doing that? Like, why are we so quick to like put another person's struggles down instead of just like being like, oh yeah, well, I'm sorry about that. I know, like, there's nothing wrong with sharing and expressing your own struggles as well, but for some reason I feel like some of the times when you're trying to talk about your own struggles, oftentimes people try to chip in, and instead of like listening, they kind of just put their own experiences, and it doesn't feel like they're actually caring about your struggles personally. It just kind of feels like it's a conversations of everyone's struggles, and like, I don't know, yeah, I think, and sometimes that can get confused. And of course, it's healthy for everyone in that conversation, right? Because everyone talking and expressing their hardships is a good thing because you're venting. It's healthy to vent. But I feel like sometimes it feels like to the other person that's of technically lower, worth of tiredness. The person with 2 hours is less worth than the person with no sleep or something like that. I feel like it kind of gets confused sometimes, and it makes that person feel like, oh, well, I guess I shouldn't feel as tired, I shouldn't, I should just push on forward and keep going. But, ooh, I like this beer. The Heineken, which is classic for French. I know it's not French, but I would say I like this more than Corona, to be honest. But I feel like feeling tired, doesn't have to be earned through overworking yourself, pushing yourself so much that you're like, you're nodding out. You're kind of, you're feeling like you're drained from your energy, and you're on the verge of passing out. That doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be like that to feel valid. Overthinking, just like mentally too, you can feel like you're overthinking. You got deadlines, you got all these things. You're tired of chasing things, and that's valid. Or even just feeling like just existing is tiring sometimes, and that's valid to have those thoughts. Emotional and mental exhaustion or fatigue is just as valid as physical. It I feel like a lot of the time we kind of perceive physical to be higher than mental, but a lot of the time you can be physically healthy, like very physically healthy. I'm talking abs, I'm talking, you got your triceps, you got your biceps, that person looks healthy, they eat well, whatever, but mentally they're not there. Maybe they lost their mother, and they're in a very different mindset, and ever since then they're having different thoughts. And I don't, I just think that like some of the time people think that they have everything together based on some physical aspects of a person, but it's not true. Mental things are very strong in a person. You can be poor, you can be rich, but mentality is worth a ton. And rest is not a reward, it's a necessity, I feel like most of the time we kind of have to earn our rest, right? In our mind, we always think, okay, I got to get this work done, and then I rest, And of course, that's like healthy in a dynamic where you got to get things done first, get it out of the way, and then rest, so you feel like you've accomplished something, and you've fulfilled your daily tasks or whatever, and you can rest now. The problem with that is there are events in our life that happen that challenge these traditional ways of thinking. And when those times come, I feel like oftentimes we think, no, I have to earn my rest. Didn't I do that with work? Didn't I do that with everything? And sometimes when things happen, like traumatic responses to situations, I feel like most of the time we do not allow ourselves for rest. We think like, oh, I have to earn my rest. What am I doing? Why am I depressed? Why am I sitting in my bed all day? I haven't been able, I haven't earned this. I haven't went outside. I didn't even go outside. I didn't even take a shower. Am I like, I shouldn't be sleeping in bed all day, you know? And that starts to take a real big toll in our mental health and things. But if you think about that environment with the same way that it is when you're in a hospital bed, are you going to have that same attitude when you're in a hospital bed? No, because you have no control, right? You're forced into that environment. You're stuck there because you got to heal. They're forcing you to heal, right? And so why can't you do the same for you when you're struggling mentally, when you're struggling physically, but you haven't went to the hospital yet? Why does it have to get there for you to feel like, oh, well, now I don't deserve this rest still. I need to go to work. I need to work out. I need to do all these things. I feel like a lot of the time we deserve the rest. We just don't think that, and we don't allow ourselves that. And then it causes us to have panic attacks. It causes us to break down. It causes so many things. And I want you to really think about those decision-making skills when you're in those situations. Allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to take that break and feel like you are able to feel fulfilled in life and prioritize your mental health. You know what I mean? I brought up this topic because I'm going for around 2 weeks in Montreal right now, and first 3 days, I've not done a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I've slept most of the time. I had this big plan. I was gonna first day just rest, second day do this, and then third day IRL stream. So far, I've only just gotten all my things set up in my room and went outside and ordered a few things, but it didn't go as expected. But guess what? I still deserve that rest, because what is that? It's my body telling me, hey, you're not supposed to go out right now. You are supposed to rest. Yeah, if your body is oversleeping like crazy, it's telling you something, And if knowing that I didn't have a lot of control over it shows me that I needed that rest. I truly needed it, and I have to be able to allow myself, even though it is frustrating because I had different plans, I needed to allow myself that rest. And now I feel a little bit better, even though I'm awake at 3 a.m. and I'm having a beer, just talking to a camera instead of live streaming and doing all the things that I was wishing. I still have time, and I'm going to do the things I was going to say just a little later, which is no problem. It's you got to take it easy with life, You can't rush life. You can't feel like life is just a race, where you got a finish line, You don't want to go to that finish line, right? You want to enjoy it. You want to enjoy the ride. You want to look at the sky. You want to look at the trees. You want to try different things in life. You want to feel like you've explored it before you reach that finish line. So don't try to rush it. Don't try to keep planning and executing plans and not feeling it consciously. Try to rest. Rest mentally and physically. And that's what I just wanted to remind you in this video. But yeah, I love this beer, actually. It's pretty good. I'm curious what recommendations you would want for alcohol, because I haven't really explored that much. I've tried beer, white wine, red wine, vodka, but the 4% one, the smeared off and all those. But yeah, recommend me some things to try. I would love to try them in other videos and shit. So, excuse my French. But yeah, much love as always. And I'll see you in the next one.